it's moving and get all that function back. And then try and decide if the core is strong or not, right? Move on. You could say, I'm just staying where I was in 1956, or you can move along with what's happening. Move along. Here's Wyant, Chiropractic Philosophy, the Misnomer that Plagues the Profession, Archives, California Chiropractic Association, 5/15/22, 1981. This was one bright dude. He wrote some great stuff. And he even recognized, we got to get off this nonsense. But we got to pick up a true philosophy of a drugless practitioner. When you read Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, you're going to read about allostasis. So now there's not just homeostasis, there's allostasis. Health is an expression of biological, physiological, social, and spiritual factors, and disease and illness is multi-causal. Okay, we all know that. But where do we fit into that? Right? Where do we fit there? The human body is endowed with certain inherent qualities called innate intelligence, vis medicatrix naturae, call it what you like, that provide for the protection, maintenance, and restoration of health, of which the normal function of the nervous system is a major integrating force. Now that was party line. We can now interject into that, which is now keeping the body in parasympathetic dominance and not allowing spinal and locomotor dysfunction to produce chronic facilitation of the sympathetics. Because sympathetic facilitation trips the stress response. That's an extrapolation. How do I extrapolate that? Well, when you look at when the sympathetics are tripped psychologically or by bacteria or whatever, you see the same responses. And we can cause a lot of that tripping from the spine. It is reasoned that when normal transmission expression, now it used to be thought that it had to be shut off. Now we know it's about too much. And of the sympathetics. So instead of all this googly-gook that didn't say anything and said everything, that you could read that and you'd say, well, what's that mean? If you had a scientific mind, you knew that was just a way of getting around the truth. Now we can start stating specifically. Question is, why aren't we? I understand that. Is concerned with the relationship between structural function, primarily the spine, and systemic function, primarily the nervous system. Well, it's primarily the spine. It's really primarily the closed kinematic locomotor system. All right? It's way more complicated than just the spine getting into trouble. There's so much involved. And that relationship may affect the restoration and prevention of health. Medicine tried to make the world think that if you were vitalistic and holistic, you were unscientific. That was the party line, right? There was no science for this, there was no science for that. Now there's a ton of science. They're jumping on board and they're saying, okay, we'll have integrated medicine. Right? We're going to envelop it because we want to control the healing arts. You can do science about how the body heals itself. You can do science about nutrition. We're just starting to do some science about manipulation and the sympathetics. You can do it. It's slow, takes time and money, but we just haven't done it before. We remove many of our patients' causal factors and impose specific demands for which their bodies make specific adaptations to restore homeostasis. Vis medicatrix naturae, the healing power of nature, innate intelligence, all boils down to living biological systems are always striving to be normal. So you cut the top off a rose bush, you take the stick and put it in the ground. It doesn't grow leaves under there. It grows new roots. Right? There's a biological order to biological systems. And they have specific, natural Needs. You put a water plant in the desert, it'll die. Put a desert plant in a pond and it'll die. Everything has its biological needs. The human body has biological needs. Is it a mystery? We know what they are. And as a natural therapeutic person, you would take a patient and say, is this patient giving themselves all the biological needs to make a healing response? It used to be considered that vitalistic, holistic was unscientific. And we got so left-brained we bought it ourselves. Right? We got so left-brained we became ashamed of the simple things that you can do to help a patient make a recovery.